Good morning. This is Dulia De Silva for Gold FM, bringing you your morning news.
The news headlines on Gold FM.
In your news headlines, CPC says no fuel distribution to dealers over the weekend. Unions oppose. IMF in Sri Lanka next week. President to address Parliament today. Former President profited millions off Airbus deal. He is caught. News overseas, Netanyahu insistent that Israel acted alone in Iran oil field attack.
The top story on Gold FM.
The Ceylon Petroleum Corporation will be halting fuel deliveries to dealers over the weekend. Managing Director Mayuranithy Kumarage stated that a strategic program is in place to maintain station supplies, urging dealers to submit the checks and orders a day in advance to avoid delays. He also moved to assure that current fuel stocks are sufficient to last until May. Trade unions are criticising the move, arguing that fuel distribution must remain an uninterrupted essential service given the current market volatility.
This is the local news on Gold FM.
There is an opportunity even amid the dark days of severe disruptions. But to benefit the global chaos, the government must spring into action and not stay idle. This is one of the messages conveyed by the opposition in Parliament yesterday. Further, there were also calls to expedite institutional reforms. Speaking in the House, MP Ravi Karunanayaka had this to say.
We have got economic stability, but the main problems in Sri Lanka, we have not got the economic transformation that was there. And that structural reforms that were required needs to be done soon. The state enterprises reforms must be done. The commercialization of state-owned enterprises must be carried out immediately. Now look at Sri Lankan Airlines. They say that the loss for the day is roughly about 400 million rupees. Now 400 million a day means it's roughly about 12 billion a month. 12 billion, 144 billion a year. Now that's not what is expected of a Sri Lankan National Airlines. So we give ideas, let's work together, ensure that we crystallize this into a positive area. Then the trade reform. This is absolutely essential. We have market access. Where is the Singapore-Sri Lanka free trade agreement that was there? Where is the Thailand free trade agreement that is there? Where is the ITCA of India? Look at the way India is moving forward. Free trade agreement into Europe with zero taxes that are there. Then look at the labour market reforms. These are absolutely essential.
Meanwhile, MP Faiza Mustafa urged the government to snap up the money currently flowing out of the Middle East due to the war.
With regard to the sports city regulations, I would like to appeal to the government, stop talking, please move on. You know that in the Middle East there is conflict, there is great opportunity. People are looking at moving their funds from the Middle East. So you should look at offering similar concessions, not be dictated by the IMF, and go there and try to entice those ones who are trying to leave the Middle East, because safety is paramount for investment, and that should be done immediately.
In the meantime, parliamentarian Rauf Hakim delivered some strong words about Sri Lanka's stance on the war and the government's handling of the Iranian vessel Iris Dina.
While a country which has been called an apartheid nation, Israel, which has caused serious genocide of Palestinians, has Iran caused a genocide? You may not like the regime. Have they established an apartheid state? No. But an apartheid state and a genocide state, together with Americans, have bombarded Iran, killed several of its leaders, and this government didn't have the backbone to criticize that. It might go on to months. Now, if you take a public opinion in Sri Lanka, every community will stand with Iran. But unfortunately, Unfortunately, our government has chosen not to say anything that would hurt the American. Now this happened when close to our territorial waters an Iranian frigate was torpedoed. There was a diplomatic note sent to the foreign ministry, complete silence for more than 11 hours. It was even discussed in the Security Council, no decision was taken. Now this is how you treat a friendly country. Finally, 100 sailors fled with their lives. They were not full-fledged sailors, they were cadets. They were not engaged in warfare. If you had allowed the ship to come on to one of our ports, this wouldn't have happened. Of course, President had a special press briefing and said we have done our humanitarian duty, we went and saved the sailors, but that is something that you are obliged to do under international obligations. Now this is the convention that our Honorable Foreign Minister spoke about in that famous panel discussion with Palki Sharma as the moderator. I am not going to talk about the Honorable Foreign Minister's language skills, but then the question was asked, but his Kohetayan Malapol answer he was giving.
The leader of the National Freedom Front, Vimal Veeravansa, alleges that the Israeli intelligence agency Mossad significantly expanded its operations within Sri Lanka since the current administration took office. In the interest of clarity, we refrained from dubbing his remarks.
මේ රටේ අද මොසාඩ් එක බලවත්ව ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙනවා. මේ ආණ්ඩුව ආවට පස්සේ පාර්ලිමේන්තු මිත්‍රත්ව සංගමයක් පිහිටවන්න පටන් ගත්තා. ඊශ්‍රායල් ශ්‍රී ලංකා පාර්ලිමේන්තු මිත්‍රත්ව සංගමය කියන්නේ. මේකට ඒගොල්ලෝ කපටිකමට සභාපති කරන්න යෝජනා කරලා තිබුණේ සමගි ජන බලවේගයේ පාර්ලිමේන්තු මන්ත්‍රී සුජීව සේනසිංහ. AVP එක ග්‍රාමීය මරණාධාර සමිතියේ සභාපතිකමවත් වෙන වෙනෙකුට දෙන්නේ නැහැ. සුජීවට මේක අපි කිව්වම තේරුණා. අධිරාජ්‍ය ගැටි කියන රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ ජනාධිපති වෙලා හිටපු වෙලාවෙවත් පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ ඊශ්‍රායල් ශ්‍රී ලංකා මිත්‍රත්ව සංවිධාන පිහිටවන්න හැදුවේ නැහැ. දැන් බලන්න මොකක්ද ඉරාන නැවුරට උනේ ඉන්දියානු බලධාරීන් ලංකාවේ බලධාරීන්ගෙන් ඇහුවා මේ අපේ උත්සවයට අපි මේ නැවතුණු උඹලා බාරගනින්න අපි එකක් පොරොන්දු වෙනවා ඒකට උඹලට බලශක්තිය අරුබුදයක් ඇති වෙන දෙන්නේ නැහැ අපි උඹලව බලන්න පළවෙනි වටේදී හාන් කිව්වා ඇරෙන් පිටත් වෙච්ච ගමන් ඇමරිකාවෙන් තර්ජනය ආවා මෙහෙට මෙහෙ ඉන්න ලෝකල් ට්‍රම්ප්ට බාරගන්න එහෙම එපා නැව ඊට පහු වෙනද උදේම ඇවිල්ලා ගහලා ඔන්න විශිෂ්ට රාජතාන්ත්‍රික භූමිකා මොන තරම් චපල පෙම්වතෙක් වාසිය පිනිච්ච ගමන් කෙල්ලට හාන් කිව්වා සල්ලි එච්චර නැහැ කියලා පිනිච්ච ගමන් කෙල්ලට බූට් එක සමුත් එකමවත් නැහැ ඔහොම චපල පෙම්වත් මොනවාම ගම්බල ඉන්නවා රියල් පෙම්වත් කට්ට කාගෙන බොක්කෙන් ලව් කරනවා මේ ඉන්දියානු සාගර කලාපයට යුද්ධ ගෙනාවා මේ අමන තීරණ මගින්.
The Bribery Commission informed the Colombo Chief Magistrates Court that Kapila Chandrasena, the former CEO of Sri Lankan Airlines, allegedly channeled bribe money from the Airbus deal to former President Mahinda Rajapaksa and former Aviation Minister Priyankara Jairatna. According to statements made by the suspect, he delivered 60 million rupees to the former president in 3 installments at his residences in Veliatta and Carlton. The commission further alleged that 20 million rupees went to the former minister, while the other funds reached an account belonging to Shamindra Rajapaksa, son of former Speaker Chama Rajapaksa, and 2 public administration officials. Lawyers for Chandrasena countered these claims, filing an affidavit alleging that the Director General of the Bribery Commission pressured the suspect during his statement. The magistrate ordered that the former CEO remain in custody until the 2nd of next month. President Anura Kumara Dissanayake will address Parliament today to provide a comprehensive update on the domestic challenges arising from the escalating conflict in the Middle East. The President is expected to outline the strategic measures taken to mitigate the impact of the global supply chain disruptions on Sri Lanka's economy and national security. The address is amid growing public concern over energy costs and stability in the region.
Now for some news in brief.
The Supreme Court ruled yesterday that police violated the fundamental rights of former Inter-University Students' Federation convener Vasantha Mudalage during his arrest and detention through the 2022 Aragalaya protests.
The business news on Gold FM.
The all-share price index of the Colombo Stock Exchange declined 376.62 points to close at 20,264.01 points yesterday. The S&P SL20 index also declined 114.16 points to close at 5,651.41. Total market turnover was 4 billion rupees. Brent crude trades at $107.50, down from yesterday's high of $119. The dip follows the peak, which was the highest level in over 3 years. West Texas Intermediate also fell to $94.12 a barrel.
International news on Gold FM.
Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel acted alone in attacking an Iranian gas field as tensions mount over strikes on energy infrastructure across the region. Israel hit Iran's South Pars, part of the world's largest natural gas field, and Tehran retaliated by striking an energy complex in Qatar and attacking other energy targets in the Gulf. The attacks led to a spike in energy prices, and US President Donald Trump later posted on Truth Social that he had not known about the attacks in advance. Speaking to the media, this is what Netanyahu had to say about certain allegations.
Does anyone really think that someone can tell President Trump what to do? Come on. President Trump always makes his decisions on what he thinks is good for America, and may I add, I think what is also good for future generations. In this case, those interests are absolutely clear, and so is the clarity of our achievements.
He also outlined Israel's goals in the conflict.
Our goals are three. One, removing the nuclear threat. Second, removing the ballistic missile threat, and removing both of these threats before they're buried deep underground and become immune from aerial attack. And third, this means creating the conditions for the Iranian people to grasp their freedom to control their destiny. Today, the Ayatollah regime is not only attacking America, not only attacking Israel, not only attacking the Iranian people, it is attacking the entire Middle East and beyond. They've attacked civilians and American assets in Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, Oman, and they've even attacked through their proxies Cyprus and Europe. We've known for decades that their ballistic missile program would be used to attack these targets far and wide, and if they're not stopped, that's just the beginning.
The Prime Minister also praised the speed of the current operations, attributing the success to a seamless partnership between the intelligence services and militaries of both the US and Israel.
So today Israel and the United States are protecting America, Israel, the entire Middle East, but I venture to say the entire world. Despite the fake news that is unfortunately being spread since the start of the war 20 days ago, we are winning and Iran is being decimated. Iran's missile and drone arsenal is being massively degraded and will be destroyed. Hundreds of their launchers have been destroyed, their stockpiles of missiles are being hit hard, and so are the industries that produce them. That's important. In Rising Line, we destroyed missiles and we destroyed a lot of the nuclear infrastructure. But what we're destroying now are the factories that produce the components to make these missiles and to make the nuclear weapons that they're trying to produce. We're wiping out their industrial base in a way that we didn't do before. Iran's air defenses have been rendered useless. Their navy is lying at the bottom of the sea. Today we hit the other part of their navy, in the Caspian Sea. Their air force is nearly destroyed. Iran's command and control structure is in utter chaos. And I can tell you that there's still more work to do, and we're going to do it.
Danish soldiers flown to Greenland in January were prepared to blow up key airport runways over fears that US President Donald Trump could invade the Arctic island. That's according to Denmark's public broadcaster, DR. Citing sources in the Danish government and the military, and also among European allies, DR said that blood supplies were also brought in to treat the wounded in the event of fighting. According to the Financial Times, 2 European officials later confirmed the report. However, the Danish Defence Ministry had no comment to foreign media. However, the BBC learned through an anonymous Danish military official that only a limited number of people would have been aware of the operation for security reasons. Both the US and Denmark are NATO members, and the issue of Greenland, a semi-autonomous part of Denmark, has deeply divided Washington and its European allies.
Entertainment news on Gold FM.
Paramount CEO David Ellison told California lawmakers his commitment to keep Paramount and Warner Brothers separate and produce a combined 30 films a year, if they merge, will help support sustained job creation across the film and creative industries.
Sports news on Gold FM.
Former cricketer Avishka Gunawardena was appointed the head coach of the Sri Lanka under-19 team. Meanwhile, former cricketer Ashan Priyanjana was named the head coach of Sri Lanka A. That's it for now. This is Dulia De Silva for Gold FM. Thank you and have a lovely day ahead.